What's my favorite tool? Well, the tool that I probably use most is a pocket flashlight. And if you're interested in a good pocket flashlight, that's a great value. I've got a bit of an insider tip for you. Now, when most people want to get a flashlight, I think they go to the hardware store, the big box store, and they pick up something like this. It's not too expensive, and it's not really a very good tool. When I was at Harbor Freight, I saw this one, this small pocket flashlight, and I was so impressed by it because it's really bright, but it's not very bright for very long. It's real bright for a handful of minutes, but then as the batteries start to deplete, it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and it doesn't have very long runtime. This light also, every time you turn it on, it comes up in a different mode. So I'll turn it on and it'll be in strobe mode or something, and I have to tap the button a couple of times. So I always find I have to tap the button a couple of times to get into the brightness mode that I want to use with this light. But other than that, it works okay, but it's not a great light. If you want a high-quality flashlight, there's a lot of premium brands out there. Perhaps you've seen advertisements for Olight. They make good stuff. And there's other brands that are in that premium category, such as Nitecore and Fenix, Zebralight, Acebeam, and so forth. And I think they all make great products. But they will be more expensive than picking up something like this at the big box store. You could spend $50 or $100 or more for a high-end quality flashlight. And I think it's worth it because it's a tool that I use all the time, and I appreciate the quality, I appreciate the features, and for a tool that I use so frequently, I'm willing to spend a little extra money. But what if you don't really have to? Because this light right here is a premium flashlight that works really well, and it's super nice. And it costs about the same as this one. A few months back, I was in the market for a new flashlight, the one that I've been using, which was a hardware store light. The switch had started getting defective on it, and I thought, I'm going to get a nice flashlight. I head out to the Candle Power forums, these message boards on the internet where people who are enthusiasts talk about this sort of thing. And a recurring theme that I saw was people mentioning that if you want a really high value and get a good flashlight that's not very expensive, look at Convoy. If you're a flashlight enthusiast, you're probably well aware of them. I'm mighty impressed. Convoy is a Chinese company that's been making flashlights for quite some time. And they have a wide variety of lights out there that compete with these higher priced lights, but they're priced not too much higher than your typical big box store or hardware store lights. This T3 light right here, if you purchase it in the aluminum body, which is what most flashlights are made of, sells for under $20. And it is a outstanding flashlight. Now, the one that I have is a little more expensive because this one is made out of titanium. And titanium is an expensive metal, so you're going to pay a little extra for that. And it's really nice. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It was well worth the extra money to get the titanium version in my mind. And this is just a small one-celled light. I wasn't convinced that this was going to be enough. And so instead of just getting the T3, I also purchased the T4, which is an almost identical light, but this is a two-cell version. And one of the interesting things about the T3 and the T4 is that it's a AA battery flashlight. So this one has one battery, this one has two. But it's not just an AA battery flashlight, it can also use lithium-ion cells. But the lithium-ion cell is about 4 volts as opposed to 1.5 volts. And so these flashlights have sophisticated electronics in them that can identify what kind of battery has been installed, and it will adjust itself appropriately. And so if you put in the higher energy lithium batteries, you get a little more brightness and a lot more runtime out of these lights. Of course, if you were to put a lithium battery into the hardware store light, well, that would just be way too much voltage and it would burn out the light. So there's some really nice features with these Convoy lights. Now, of course, Convoy makes a wide variety of flashlights, and I'm not saying that these are the only ones you should buy, but these are the ones that I got. The T3 and the T4, both in titanium, polished titanium, and I think they are super nice. So let me tell you a couple of features about these lights that set them apart from the cheaper lights that you might get at your hardware store or big box store. First is just simply the quality. It's just higher quality construction, higher quality switches. It's just a nice product. It feels good. The titanium body on this has some heft to it, so it just feels like a quality item in your hand. It's got superior electronics inside of it for power management. And so, unlike the cheaper lights that you might pick up at the big box store that get progressively dimmer as your batteries get depleted, these maintain pretty much more or less constant brightness throughout the entire lifespan of the battery. And then when the battery finally does get extinguished, the light goes out pretty quick. But that means that you can use this light for a long time and it stays consistently bright. Very nice. This light has 4 different brightness settings. And actually, I prefer the small one. I wasn't sure that the small one was going to have enough output for me, so I hedged my bet and got the big one too. But it turns out that this small light has plenty of output for everything I need. It gets very bright. This is brighter than an old-style mag light by far. And these both share the same electronics in them, so this is 4 different brightness settings, the way I've got it set up. But it's configurable, so you can program this light to behave however you want it to. Well, within some reason. There's 12 different programs available, and the one that I've chosen gives me 4 different brightness settings. But maybe you'd rather just have 3. There's a choice for that. Maybe you'd like to have a few different brightness settings and a strobe feature. There's a choice for that. Maybe you'd like to have a setting that gives you a couple different brightness settings and a bicycle headlamp setting where it's basically on, but every once in a while it has a bit of a flicker to it to help get people's attention. And so you can go through those menu choices by tapping the power button on this light like a maniac for about 20 times, and then that will put the light into program mode, which will then allow you to step through and select one of, I believe, 12 different options for how you want the light to behave when you push the back button. Do you want 3 different brightness settings, 4? Do you want brightness settings at different steps? So do you want very dim to medium high to high, or do you want kind of dim to medium and high? You know, that sort of thing. So very configurable, makes good use out of the battery. And one of the nice things about this light is that it remembers the last setting it was in. So if you normally use it at, say, medium brightness, when you turn the light off, come back later and turn it on, it's back at that same setting. If you even remove the batteries from this light, charge them up or replace them, put new batteries in, put the light back together, it will once again turn on at the brightness setting that you had previously used. So you don't find yourself multiply tapping the back button in order to get to the setting that you want. These lights also give you a choice of emitters. The emitter is like a loudspeaker. They all have their own little characteristics. And the emitters that I chose are 5,000 Kelvin in color temperature. You have a choice of color temperatures, whether or not you want a icy blue bright light, or if you want a light that's a little bit warmer and orange colored, or anywhere in between. Different emitters will have different throw patterns. Some of them will have a real hot spot and a narrow beam, and others have a wider beam. Some emitters have very good color rendering index. So when you light up objects with the flashlight, they appear to be in natural proper color and not in looking unusual. Some emitters are more efficient so that they either put out more lumens or they can give you more runtime out of your battery. Now, that's not to say that there are any emitters that are better than others. It's a bunch of compromises depending upon what features you want. If you go to the Convoy shop on AliExpress, you get the whole choice of features of all the different emitters they offer for these lights. And you can get these lights in either things such as titanium or aluminum in a whole variety of different colors. And so it's a really good deal. Now, am I saying that this is a better flashlight than something like Ace Beam or Olight or Zebra Light? No. But I'm saying it sits in the same category in my mind as a really high quality flashlight that offers these advanced flashlight features. But the Convoy lights sell for a price that isn't much more than what you pay at the big box store. So I think it's a tremendous deal. I ordered my lights direct from Convoy through AliExpress. And like I say, if you do that, you get the whole gamut of choices. And of course, they have more choices than just this T3 or T4 light. I'm sure all their products are good. The downside of that is that ordering direct from China takes some time. It can take up to 2 months for your shipment to arrive. If you don't have that kind of patience, you can also purchase some of their products from Amazon. And I'll put down some links below so you can check out what they're offering there. And so there's a little bit of an insider tip for you, a not so well-known brand, which is Convoy. And I think they make fantastic flashlights. I've been using these for the last few months, and I am a very happy customer. And I suspect if you're in the market for a high-quality flashlight, which is an excellent tool, that it would work well for you as well. And between the T3 and the T4, I find both of these to be excellent. They're very similar. The differences are that the T3 has a little bit of a glowing ring inside of the reflector. And so after you use the flashlight for the next few minutes, you get just a faint green glow in there. And I think that's kind of cool. This one does not have that. The T3 also has a lower output at the lowest setting than the T4. And I actually like that because when I'm roaming around the house at night, I don't need it to be very bright. Both of these work well, but this one works a little better for me. Obviously, the T4 being a 2-celled light has a bit more output than this one does, but they're both plenty fine for all of the things I do around the house. If I was going to look for something deep in the woods, I might grab the bigger one, but either one would work fine. And so in retrospect, if I would have just purchased the T3, I would have been perfectly happy. The other thing I like about this smaller light is that it's smaller. It easily drops in your pocket, you hardly feel it, and sometimes I hold it in my mouth as I'm working on stuff, and this is just a little more comfortable than the big light is. But these are both excellent. I recommend both of them highly. So if you're in the market for a good flashlight, consider the Convoy lights and see if they offer the features that you're looking for. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using lithium-ion batteries in those lights, and that offers a little better performance and longer runtime. If you choose to do that, make sure to get a charger that can charge the batteries that you select. I'm using a Nitecore D4 charger, which I think works really well, and I'm very happy with it as well. So if you're interested in any of these products, I'll put links down below so you can check them out. If you're interested in this kind of content, well, there's a link down below where you can subscribe to the channel or give it a thumbs up, and I'd appreciate either of those actions. So I hope this was helpful to you, perhaps illuminating. And if you're interested in a high-quality flashlight that's a good value, well, consider looking into Convoy.